CBS Orchestra.
For over 3 decades, Paul Shaffer led the CBS Orchestra as David Letterman did the interviewing on The Late Show. But as a new year begins, it's Shaffer who has launched his own music talk show with Sirius XM. So it's like interview meets jam session.
Yeah, exactly. You might say that, yeah, but a very intimate jam session. The hook of the show is that I'd be talking to them as just like we're talking, but we have instruments. They have their guitars in their hand. And if they mention something, you know, sort of seamlessly go from dialogue into music to illustrate a point, back into a conversation.
Since Shaffer's music career has led him to work with virtually any big name that you can think of, the new show is a chance for him to compare stories and experiences with his industry colleagues.
I'm certainly a fan, first and foremost. I haven't lost it. You're learning about these people. You hear about their influences. You hear about the kind of music that they liked, what got them started.
But before the Sirius XM show, before the Vegas residency, even before the Late Show, it was Broadway that brought Paul Shaffer to New York City for his big break.
I graduated from college in Toronto, Canada, and then by a fluke I got a job conducting the off-Broadway show Godspell that started up a Toronto company. And this company has sort of become legendary because of the cast that was in it. All these wonderful Canadians like Victor Garber and Martin Short, Andrea Martin, Eugene Levy, some of the funniest people still in the world. We were all together in this show, and we were all about 22 years old. So we ran that show for a year in Toronto, and then Stephen Schwartz, who was the composer of Godspell and currently the composer of Wicked, he said, I want to bring you into New York, work for me there, and he did. And next thing I knew, I was on Broadway playing in the Pit.
And while Broadway shifted Shaffer's attention away from Canada, it was actually a group of Canadians who turned him on to a magical time in TV.
A bunch of Canadians came down to start up Saturday Night Live, and I was able to switch over. And in '75, I was on the first 5 years of that show, and you know, then I was in television.
And also in a fabled era of a show that's become an iconic pop culture staple.
You know, for most of us, it was our first television job. I'm talking about the original cast with Chevy Chase, John Belushi, Dan Aykroyd, later on Bill Murray after Chevy left, Gilda Radner, and here it was live. I didn't know how we were going to do it. How, you mean we're going to actually be doing this live?
And was there a sense when you were all together at that time that there was something special going on?
You know, I might have to say not really. We were all so caught up in just doing the show, getting it done, getting it on the air. It was very exciting. And you know, the cast members were becoming stars. I don't think they even realized it for the first couple of years. And then all of a sudden, you know, the show gradually became more and more popular.
Today, in the social media age, clips from Saturday Night Live go viral by Sunday morning. And that's the kind of scrutiny that Shaffer is glad wasn't around in the show's early days. And there were things that slipped on air that probably wouldn't be so good for people to be watching over and over again on the internet nowadays, right?
Well, exactly. And of course, you're reminding me of my terrible faux pas, the time that I said the F word on live TV, and it was absolutely an honest mistake. We were all doing British accents and pretended to be medieval musicians, and we were saying, you know, the flogging this, the flogging that, and I just slipped and said the real word, and I've watched the tape back, and it's hilarious. You see my face go white.
Saturday Night Live was the start of a decades-long career in television, one that had Shaffer paired with late-night legend David Letterman.
I often think that perhaps what David Letterman did was take the Johnny Carson Tonight Show mold and combine it with the irreverence and spontaneity of Saturday Night Live. Putting those two things together, he came up with his show, which was very creative, very off the wall. Nobody had ever seen anything like it.
The partnership of Shaffer and Letterman is one of the longest running in TV history.
It was a wonderful run of 33 years with this guy. We had a wonderful time. It was a hell of an experience. When it ended, I was awfully depressed for a while. I was saying to myself, where am I? Where do I go from here? I had the greatest 33 years anybody in the business could possibly have.
And when the show ended, you say that, you know, you were a little down about it.
Deflated, absolutely.
Did it feel like that show was like kind of part of your identity?
Oh, absolutely. Of course, you know, so many people know me from the show. Some people just point at me and say, "Hey, Letterman." Yes, I used to work for him. Yes, I did. I'm very proud of it, though. And yes, what am I supposed to do now? But the main thing is if I can keep on playing the piano, that keeps me happy.
That's exactly what Shaffer did in 2018, launching his own Vegas residency at Caesar's Palace. And it's there, inside Cleopatra's barge, where Shaffer was reunited with his longtime late-night comrade.
My old boss, Mr. David Letterman.
We do 6,000 shows together.
We did.
With those bums you call the band every night.
I know.
You're out here in Las Vegas with these people. They're like magicians, for God's sake. You're not going to hear anything better than this. That's right.
Somewhat of a full circle moment for a man who has lived and created pop culture history, and a man who is grateful for every single second of it.
Well, I've been blessed, you know, I don't take it for granted. My life and career have been a blessing, and I thank God for it. And it's continuing. So you're looking at a very blessed and lucky man.